There are moments in life when everything seems ordinary, routine, predictable, even stagnant. You've prayed, believed, waited, and wondered, when will it happen? When will things turn around? But let me remind you, just because you haven't seen it yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. What God has promised you is still alive. What He started, He will finish. You may think you're falling behind, but in God's timing, you are not behind. You are being prepared. You are being positioned. You're not forgotten. You're hidden for a purpose. In the quiet, in the stillness, that's where miracles are being shaped. That's where divine setups are being orchestrated. You're about to step into a season where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Not because you earned it, but because of God's favor. Doors will open you didn't knock on. People will bless you that don't even know your name. Situations will shift without your effort. That's not coincidence, that's the supernatural favor of God. When you're faithful in the waiting, heaven begins moving. When you stay in peace, when you stay in faith, when you declare His promises, something starts breaking in the spiritual realm. You may not see it yet, but behind the scenes, things are lining up in your favor. Don't be surprised when sudden blessings overtake you. Don't talk yourself out of the promotion, the healing, the turnaround. Just because it doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean it doesn't make sense to God. His ways are higher. His timing is perfect. What looks delayed is actually divine alignment. You're not going to have to chase the miracle. The miracle is going to find you. Get ready, unexpected miracles are coming. There are seasons in life where we feel stuck, where the progress is slow, the prayers seem unanswered, and the dreams look distant. You've been doing everything right, working hard, showing up, staying faithful, but it feels like nothing is changing. The breakthrough hasn't come, the relationship hasn't been restored, the door hasn't opened. It's easy to start thinking that you're being overlooked, that maybe what you're believing for isn't going to happen. But what if that delay isn't a denial? What if what you call a delay is really a divine setup? Sometimes God slows things down on purpose because He's working behind the scenes in ways you can't see. He's arranging the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. If He allowed it to happen too soon, it wouldn't be what it needs to be. You wouldn't be fully ready. The people assigned to help you wouldn't be in place. The resources wouldn't be aligned. God sees the end from the beginning. He's not trying to frustrate you. He's preparing something better than you could have planned on your own. What you think is a setback is often a setup for something greater. That job you didn't get, that door that didn't open, that opportunity that slipped away, what if that was God's protection? What if it wasn't the best He had for you? You might have settled for less, but God said, no, I have something better. The delay wasn't punishment, it was positioning. He's setting the stage for something you didn't see coming, something that will not only answer your prayers, but exceed your expectations. When it feels like you're stuck, like nothing is moving forward, remember that stillness doesn't mean absence. God is never inactive. In the silence, He is speaking to the right hearts. In the quiet, He is shifting things in your favor. You're not going around in circles, you're being led through preparation. Every no, every closed door, every delay is leading you closer to the right yes. Think about Joseph. He had dreams of greatness, but he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and put in prison. For years, it looked like his dream would never come to pass. But all of that wasn't random. It was part of God's plan. The prison was the path to the palace. The betrayal was the bridge to the blessing. The delay was a divine setup. And when the moment came, Joseph was ready. He had the character, the wisdom, the humility, and the favor to step into what God had prepared for him. You may not understand everything now. It may not make sense why things haven't worked out, why the timing has been stretched, why the waiting has been so long. But if you could see what God sees, you wouldn't question the delay, you would trust it. You would recognize that something greater is being built, something bigger is being born. God is not just preparing the promise for you. He's preparing you for the promise. That's why it hasn't happened yet. That's why it's taken time. Because the promise is too important to arrive before you're fully ready. There is a profound power in the silence, even when it feels uncomfortable or confusing. When life seems quiet and the prayers you've been praying don't seem to be answered right away, it's easy to wonder if you've been forgotten. You might feel overlooked, abandoned, or even punished, but silence doesn't mean God has moved away. In fact, it's often in the silence that miracles are quietly being shaped and formed. Many times we expect God to work out loud with signs, with obvious answers, with immediate breakthroughs. We want dramatic changes and clear confirmations, but God's work is often unseen at first, like a seed planted in the dark earth. The miracle is hidden beneath the surface, working its way toward life. The silence is part of the process. It's the preparation stage where everything is coming together without fanfare or noise. Just because you don't hear a voice or see a clear path doesn't mean God is not working. The quiet season is where strength is built, where faith is tested and refined, where the foundation for your miracle is laid. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. The invisible work happening now will soon burst forth into something visible, powerful, and life-changing. The hiddenness you feel is not a sign of neglect, but a sign of divine strategy. God is often working behind the scenes to arrange circumstances, align people, and open doors in ways you couldn't orchestrate on your own. This hidden work requires patience and trust. It's easy to become discouraged when it seems like nothing is happening, but don't mistake the silence for abandonment. Take heart in knowing that the greatest miracles often come after a season of quiet waiting. It's during those times that God is molding your character, deepening your faith, and perfecting the timing. Your breakthrough will not come too early or too late. It will come exactly when it should. And when it arrives, it will be clear that God's hand was at work the whole time, even when you couldn't see it. Remember, many of the most powerful stories of transformation began in silence and hiddenness. The deliverance of a nation, the healing of a broken heart, the restoration of a family, all were shaped quietly before they became evident. Your miracle is no different. It's being crafted now in a way that only God can do, perfectly timed, perfectly planned, perfectly executed. So when you feel forgotten, hold on to the truth that you are not alone. The silence is a sacred space where miracles are taking shape. Your faithfulness in this quiet season will lead to a celebration beyond what you expect. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. What seems hidden now is simply preparing to be revealed in the fullness of God's glory. There's a powerful truth many overlook. Sometimes the blessings you've been waiting for will come not because of how hard you work or how much you strive, but because of God's favor. You can pour your heart into your efforts, stay up late, push yourself beyond your limits, and still wonder why things don't seem to change. It's easy to think that success or breakthrough depends solely on your sweat and toil. But there is a greater force at work, a divine favor that doesn't come from your striving, but from God's grace. God's favor is not something you earn. It's a gift that shifts circumstances in your favor without you having to fight for it. It's the open door you didn't expect, the unexpected promotion, the relationship restored against all odds. Favor means that what you need comes to you in ways that don't require you to wear yourself out. Sometimes the breakthrough isn't about working harder, it's about trusting deeper. When you live by striving alone, you can become exhausted, frustrated, and discouraged. But when you lean into God's favor, you begin to experience peace in the process. You realize that there's a supernatural hand working on your behalf, orchestrating situations and connecting the right people to help you. The blessing doesn't have to be a result of endless hustle. It can be the result of divine intervention. Think about the stories in the Bible where God's favor changed everything. It wasn't because the people were always the strongest or the smartest. It was because God chose to bless them. Joseph didn't get promoted because he schemed. It was because God's favor was upon him. David became king not because of his own power, but because of God's favor in the eyes of the people. Favor is a force that changes your status, your position, your circumstances, often when you least expect it. Favor also protects you from unnecessary battles. It clears the way so you don't have to fight every single step. When God's favor is upon you, enemies lose their strength, obstacles disappear, and the right opportunities come knocking. You won't have to push through every closed door. Some doors will simply open for you. Favor makes the impossible possible, often in ways that make no sense to the natural mind. That's why it's important to stop striving so hard and start trusting more. Trust that God's favor is at work, even when you don't see immediate results. Trust that the blessings will come. not because of what you've done, but because of who God is. Favor isn't based on your perfection or your performance. It's based on God's love and grace toward you. So keep doing your part, work diligently, be faithful, stay committed, but don't depend on your effort alone. Allow God's favor to carry you. Be open to the blessings that arrive unexpectedly without your pushing or demanding. The breakthrough you need is coming, and it will come through favor, not just effort. There is a powerful truth that many people overlook. Sometimes the blessings you have been waiting for will come not because of how hard you work or how much you strive, but because of God's favor. It's easy to believe that success and breakthrough depend entirely on your own efforts, your late nights, your constant hustle. But what if the most important factor is not how much you strive, but how much favor you have with God? God's favor is a supernatural force that moves on your behalf. It opens doors that no one can shut. It brings opportunities that you didn't plan for. It grants grace and blessings that surpass your understanding. Favor isn't something you can earn through hard work alone. It's a gift, an unmerited blessing that shifts circumstances in your favor, even when the odds seem stacked against you. When you rely only on your effort, you risk burning out, becoming frustrated and exhausted. Striving can wear you down, making you feel like you're stuck on a treadmill, running but not moving forward. But when you rest in God's favor, you begin to see that you don't have to do it all alone. There is a higher power orchestrating your path, preparing the right timing, and positioning you for blessings that come without the heavy burden of constant striving. Consider the difference between working hard and working smart. Favor is like a shortcut that bypasses long struggles and opens doors without the usual barriers. It means promotions, breakthroughs, and answers to prayer can come suddenly, unexpectedly, and effortlessly. Sometimes the blessing you're praying for doesn't come because you worked harder. It comes because God decided it was time to pour out His favor on you. Think about how in many stories the greatest achievements come through favor rather than struggle. Joseph in the Bible was thrown into prison unjustly, yet God's favor was on him, and it led to his rise as a leader in Egypt. David was just a shepherd boy, but God's favor made him king. Their success wasn't just about their effort. It was about the favor that followed them and lifted them up. God's favor also protects and provides. It shields you from harm, redirects you away from failure, and brings the right people and opportunities to your side. It's like having an invisible hand guiding your steps, removing obstacles and creating open doors you didn't expect. You might be tempted to keep pushing harder, thinking that more effort equals more results. But there's a better way. The blessing you've been waiting for will come not because of your striving, but because of God's favor. Your job is to remain faithful, stay committed, and keep your heart open to receive. Trust that God's favor is moving on your behalf, working behind the scenes to bring you what you need. So keep doing your part, but don't exhaust yourself trying to force things to happen. Let God's favor carry you forward. The breakthrough you seek will arrive, not by your effort alone, but by the supernatural favor of God. Peace is not just a feeling, it is a powerful force that activates the promises of God in your life. When you face challenges, uncertainty, or delays, your first instinct might be to worry, rush, or try to fix everything on your own. But God calls you to a higher place, a place of peace. Staying in peace is more than just calming your mind. It is about trusting that God's promises are true and that they are working behind the scenes even when you don't see immediate results. When you choose peace, you align yourself with God's timing and His purpose. Peace is a signal that you trust God's plan, even if it's different from your own. It says, I believe that what God has promised will come to pass, and I'm not going to be shaken by circumstances. This kind of peace does not deny the reality of your situation, but it refuses to be controlled by fear, doubt, or frustration. It creates space for God's power to work. You may wonder, how does peace activate the promise? It's because peace is a spiritual posture that opens the door for God's blessings to flow. When your heart is at peace, you are not resisting or fighting against what is happening. Instead, you are in harmony with God's will. This harmony allows His promises to manifest in your life in ways you cannot engineer or force. It's like being in the right channel where God's power can move freely. Imagine two plants, one growing in rocky, unstable soil, and the other rooted deeply in rich, calm earth. The plant in rocky soil struggles, its growth stunted. but the one rooted in calm soil thrives, reaching upward, drawing nourishment. Your heart is like that soil. When it is restless and troubled, the promises of God struggle to take root. But when your heart is peaceful, those promises find fertile ground to grow. Throughout Scripture, peace is closely connected to faith and trust. It is the fruit of believing that God is faithful and that His timing is perfect. When you allow peace to reign in your heart, you release anxiety and open yourself to receive. You stop trying to control every detail and start trusting the one who controls everything. Peace also protects your mind and spirit. It guards you from the attacks of doubt and fear that can derail your faith. When you stay in peace, you keep your eyes fixed on the promise, not on the problem. This focus keeps you strong, hopeful, and ready to receive the blessings God has prepared. So when life feels uncertain, when your prayers seem unanswered and waiting feels long, choose peace. Let it settle in your heart and mind. Speak peace over your situation. Declare that you trust God's promise even before you see the fulfillment. This peace is not passive. It is active faith that positions you to receive what God has spoken. Remember, peace activates the promise. It is the key that unlocks the door to the blessings and breakthroughs you've been waiting for. Choose peace today and watch as God's promises begin to unfold in your life. There are moments in life when you feel stuck, like every door you try to open is shut tight. You knock, you wait, you wonder why nothing seems to change. You may even begin to question if your efforts are in vain. But here's a powerful truth. Sometimes the doors you didn't knock on, the ones you didn't even know existed, are the very doors God is opening for you. We often limit ourselves by focusing only on what we see in front of us. We plan our paths, set goals, and work hard to make things happen. But God's plans are bigger than our vision. He sees opportunities and opens doors we never dreamed possible. These doors come unexpectedly, without warning, and often at the perfect time. They are gifts of favor and divine intervention. When you feel like you've done all you can and nothing is moving, that's when God steps in. While you were busy knocking on one door, He was preparing another door, one that is better suited for you, one that leads to greater things. This new door doesn't require your pushing or striving. It opens because God's favor is upon you. Sometimes we get so focused on one door, one opportunity, or one answer that we miss the bigger picture. We may feel disappointed when that door closes, but what we don't realize is that God's closed door is actually a redirection to a better place. The closed doors aren't dead ends. They are divine detours leading you to where you truly belong. This principle can bring great comfort when you are waiting or facing rejection. Know that God is at work behind the scenes. The doors you never expected to see, the opportunities you didn't even consider, are being unlocked for you. They are part of God's perfect plan, far better than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. When God opens a door, it often comes with peace and confirmation. You feel a sense of ease walking through it, even if the path is unfamiliar. That door may lead to a new job, a fresh relationship, a creative breakthrough, or a life-changing opportunity. You don't have to knock or beg to get in. God's favor simply grants you access. The key is to remain open and attentive. Don't become so fixed on your own plans that you miss what God is doing. Stay humble, stay faithful, and stay ready to walk through unexpected doors. Sometimes best blessings come wrapped in surprise, so don't be afraid to step into the unknown when God opens the way. Remember, the doors you didn't knock on are often the ones God is opening for you. Trust that His timing is perfect, His plans are good, and His favor is working on your behalf. When one door closes, look for the one He's unlocking and be ready to walk boldly into the blessings. Miracles don't always come with a heads up. Sometimes they arrive suddenly, unexpectedly, and completely change the course of your life in an instant. You won't have time to prepare or brace yourself. The shift will be so powerful and immediate that it will catch you by surprise. This is how God moves swiftly, decisively, and without warning, because miracles are not bound by human schedules or limitations. You may have been waiting patiently or anxiously for your breakthrough, hoping for signs or clues about when it will happen. But the truth is, your miracle won't come with a countdown. It won't come when you expect it or in the way you think it should. Miracles tend to show up when you're least expecting them, catching you off guard and flipping your situation upside down in the best possible way. This suddenness is part of God's power. When He steps in to intervene, He doesn't need time to negotiate or prepare. His timing is perfect, and His timing is often surprising. Just like a lightning bolt that strikes without warning, your miracle will come fast and change everything all at once. It's a reminder that God is in control, not circumstances, and He can deliver what you need at the exact moment you need it most. Many people wait for gradual change, a slow, steady climb toward their goals, but miracles are often immediate and dramatic. They are not always a product of slow progress or gradual improvement. Instead, they can be sudden shifts that redirect your life entirely, bringing restoration, healing, provision, or favor in ways you never imagined. Think about biblical stories where miracles arrived suddenly. The walls of Jericho didn't crumble slowly, they fell all at once. The woman with the issue of blood didn't heal gradually. She was instantly made whole the moment she touched Jesus' garment. The blind man didn't regain sight bit by bit. His eyes were opened in an instant. These moments show us that God's power can intervene suddenly and shift everything in one powerful move. You might feel like you're stuck now, that nothing is moving, and that your breakthrough is far away. But don't lose hope. Your miracle is coming, and it won't need a warning. It will arrive suddenly in God's perfect timing, and when it does, everything will change. What felt impossible will become possible overnight. What felt hopeless will be filled with hope. Your life will take a new direction, and your faith will be strengthened by what God has done. This is why it's important to keep your heart ready and your faith alive. Even if you don't see immediate results, even if you don't feel any change, trust that God is working behind the scenes. When your miracle arrives, it will shift everything. And you'll know without a doubt that it was God's hand at work. When you stay in peace, you give room for the promise to manifest. When you stop depending solely on your own effort, you position yourself to receive supernatural favor. And when you let go of the pressure to knock on every door, you begin to notice the ones God opens without your help, doors that lead to blessings you didn't even know were coming. God works in the unseen. He moves in silence. While you've been praying, He's been planning. While you've been waiting, He's been preparing. The hiddenness you've experienced has not been abandonment, it's been divine protection. It's in that hidden place that faith grows. It's in the quiet seasons that trust is developed. And it's through that trust that miracles are activated. What you couldn't do in your strength, God is about to do by His Spirit. The shift is coming. Not gradually, not predictably, but suddenly. And when it happens, it will be undeniable. Everything will change instantly. What once seemed stuck will start to move. What once felt impossible will break open. What once held you back will lose its grip. The promise is still alive. The favor is still working. The miracle is still on the way. You don't have to figure out how or when. That's not your job. Your role is to stay faithful, stay hopeful, and stay in peace. Don't let worry steal your joy or fear steal your focus. What God has spoken over your life will come to pass not because of your striving, but because of His sovereign grace, not because of your perfection, but because of His divine favor. And not because you saw it coming, but because He always fulfills His word, often when you least expect it. So stand firm. Stay expectant. Keep your heart open. God is about to do something sudden, something supernatural, something so specific that you'll know it could only be His hand. The miracle won't need a warning. It will arrive, it will shift everything. And it will remind you that God never stopped working on your behalf. What you thought was delayed was only being divinely aligned, and now it's your time.